Ngozi sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers nervously tracing the hem of her wrapper. The TV in the living room blared, with Kingsley's laughter echoing through the house like a haunting tune. She had once loved that laugh. It used to make her smile. Now, it made her stomach tighten with fear. "Your food is on the table," she called softly. "What did you say?" Kingsley backed from the couch. She hesitated, already regretting her words. "I said, the food is on the table." A silence followed, then heavy footsteps. The door flew open, slamming against the wall. "You served me food after 9? Are you mad?" Before she could answer, the back of his hand landed across her face. She stumbled, her head hitting the wardrobe. "I was ironing your clothes," she whispered, tears threatening to fall. "And did I send you to do that?" He snapped, walking out without a glance. That was the first slap. The second slap came 3 weeks later, during a Champions League match. She had said, "Honey, can I lower the volume a bit? My head hurts." That's all it took. He stood, eyes burning. "So, you are not controlling what I watch." He punched her arm. She screamed. He slammed the door and left the house, returning 4 hours later with a woman who smelled of cheap perfume and alcohol. Ngozi sat on the staircase, shivering. "Go inside," he muttered. She looked up, hoping he would say more, but he turned to the woman and laughed. "Baby girl, don't mind that statue. She just liked acting holy." That night, he locked the bedroom door. She slept on the cold floor outside. By the second year, she could barely recognize herself. She wore long sleeves even in heat, telling neighbors she was allergic to the sun. She painted smiles for church, laughed at jokes and joined choir rehearsals like her life was perfect. But inside, she prayed for death. "God," she often whispered in the shower, "if this is love, please take me home." Yet she stayed, because of a secret. Kingsley believed he owned the house, told everyone he built it from the scratch. He showed off the tiled floors and marble kitchen counterparts to guests, bragging about how hard work pays. But only Ngozi knew the truth. The house was her father's last gift before he died. A deed tucked safely in a rustling metal box, hidden under her old clothes. She never mentioned it, not even when he threw her out one rainy night because she looked at him funny. She slept in the corridor, hugging herself for warmth. The neighbors whispered. Some pitied her, others judged her. She used to be so cheerful before the wedding. What is she still doing in that house? Maybe she likes it. But no one really knew. They didn't know how Kingsley sometimes poured water on her while she slept, or how he once beat her up because she didn't laugh at his joke. Still, she stayed. Then came the ultimate betrayal. Ngozi returned from the market one Friday evening. The scent of ripe tomatoes and dry fish still lingered on her hands. As she stepped into the house, she heard moaning. She froze. It was coming from their bedroom. She dropped the basket, her legs trembling. She walked down the hallway, each step heavier than the last. The door was slightly open, and there, on her bed, was Kingsley. His back ached, hands gripping ties that didn't belong to her. It was her cousin, Amara. Ngozi stood there, silent. He didn't even stop. When he finally saw her, he smirked. "Close the door when you leave." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She turned and walked away. That night, the house was quiet. Kingsley snored in the bed, his arms draped over Amara. Ngozi sat on the floor of the wardrobe, staring at the old box. She hadn't touched it in for 7 years. Her hand shook as she reached for it. The key was still hidden in the seam of her wrapper, the same place her mother had once told her to keep important things. She opened it slowly, the creak of the metal lid sounding like a trumpet in her ears. There it was, the property deed, her father's signature, the date of purchase, the seal from the land registry. She traced the paper with her fingers, and for the first time in a long while, she smiled, not with joy, with purpose. She glanced at the bed where Kingsley lay, sprawled like a king who ruled over ashes. Ngozi stood up, walked to the wardrobe and whispered, "Let the game begin," she silently said to herself. Ngozi learned how to smile while bleeding. The next morning after catching Kingsley with her cousin, She fried his eggs, added suya pepper the way he liked, and placed the tray gently on the center table. Kingsley didn't even look at her. "Where is my juice?" "In the fridge," she replied softly. He hissed and walked into the kitchen. "Lazy thing, you can't even serve juice like a proper wife." She nodded, still silent. That afternoon, she walked to a store on Adenuga Street and bought a small voice recorder. The man who sold it to her said, "Madam, this one go catch every word, every whisper." "Good," she said. "That's exactly what I need." From that day on, she became a quiet investigator in her own home. She kept the recorder under the chair cushion in the sitting room, inside the flower vase in their bedroom, and once even taped it behind the TV. Every insult, every slap, every right thing he said to her, she saved it. Her left thigh was still dark from the last time he kicked her. She started taking photos of the bruises, her arms, her backs, even the scar across her scalp from where he pushed her into the wardrobe mirror. She saved everything on a flash drive labeled Market Prices 2021. Kingsley, on the other hand, had no clue. He walked around the house like a king, chewing loudly, shouting on the phone, calling her useless in front of strangers. He even started inviting more women, women with loud voices, with stronger perfumes. One night, she found a woman wearing her wedding gown. Ngozi's heart tottered in disbelief. 2 days later, she saw the same woman post a picture on Instagram with her own bedsheet in the background. She looked up and cried. The mysterious woman captioned it "Home Sweet Home." Hashtag my king, hashtag my home. Ngozi stared at the phone screen for a long time. Then she saved the post and added it to her folder. Evidence for Judgment Day. One Tuesday morning, Kingsley stormed into the room. "You are lucky I will allow you to stay here. You hear me?" he shouted. "One day I will chase you from this house naked. Just wait." Ngozi looked up from her Bible. "Is that so?" "Yes," he roared. "This is my house. I built it. I made you." She smiled. "Why are you smiling at?" he snapped. She shook her head. "Nothing." But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. Because 2 weeks ago, Ngozi had walked into Olabode and Sons' chambers, a law firm recommended by her cousin, and she sat in front of the calm lawyer named Barrister Ifani. "My father bought the house," she told him, her hands clenched. "I have the documents." "And you have been living with a man who thinks it is his?" "Yes." "Do you have proof of his abuse?" Ngozi had simply placed the flash drive in his table. Barrister Ifani didn't ask more. "We will build your case," he said. "Just be patient." So she kept playing her role. She washed Kingsley's clothes. She cooked his meals. She even greeted his mistresses with small nod, knowing her silence had become her sharpest knife. But Kingsley kept digging his own grave. One night, he came back home drunk, stinking of gin and sweat. "Witch!" he shouted, throwing his belt on the floor. "You poisoned my stew." Ngozi blinked confused. "I haven't cooked stew in 2 days." He lunged at her, grabbed her hair, and slammed her head against the wall. Blood trickled down her face. She fell to the ground dazed. A neighbor burst in with 2 men. "Kingsley, you go kill am o," the man shouted, pulling him away. Ngozi sat there quietly, holding her head. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just whispered, "Please, help me get my phone." The next morning, with a bandage across her forehead and her sunglasses hiding the swelling, she walked into Barrister Ifani's office. "You are ready?" he asked, looking at her wound. "Yes," she said, holding out the flash drive. "Everything you need is inside." He nodded. "By the time we are done, he will wish he never raised his hand on you." Ngozi exhaled, finally feeling like her soul had been ready to breathe in. As she stepped out of the office building, her phone vibrated in her bag. She pulled it out, expecting a message from her lawyer, or maybe her cousin. But it was a text message from her best friend, Ijoma. "Kingsley just posted your house online. He's trying to sell it." Ngozi froze. Her legs refused to move. Her hands began to tremble. She read the message again. "Sell your house online?" She looked up at the sky. A bird flew across, cutting through the clouds like a warning. She took a deep breath, clenching her fist, and muttered, He wants to sell my house. Her eyes burned, not with tears, but with fire. Then I'm ending everything tonight, she whispered to herself. Ngozi didn't go home that night. She sat at the hotel lobby with her hands wrapped around a cup of tea that had long gone cold. The receptionist had asked 3 times if she was okay. She had only nodded. I just need a little time. The message from Ijoma played in her mind like a drum beat. Kingsley just posted your house online. He's trying to sell it. Her house? Her father's legacy. The same house Kingsley had once mocked, saying even the compound smells like poverty. But now he wanted to sell it. No, Ngozi whispered to herself. You don't get to destroy me and walk away smiling. At exactly 5:30 a.m., before dawn even touched the cloud, she sent a text to Barrister Ifeanyi. He's trying to sell the house. What's our next move? His reply came 10 minutes later. Come in by 9 a.m. Bring the original documents. Ngozi looked out of the window of the hotel lobby. Lagos was slowly waking up. Cars honked, buses screamed. But inside her, a new version of herself was rising. Steady, calm and fierce. By 9:10 a.m., she was seated across from Barrister Ifeanyi with a manila folder in her hand. These are the documents, the land certificate, the receipt, my father signed will, all of it. He examined them one by one. Solid, very solid. He looked up at her. Ngozi, are you ready to fight this publicly? She didn't hesitate. I have been bleeding in silence for years. I'm ready to roll. He smiled. Good. Then let me introduce you to someone. A tall, confident woman entered the room. Ngozi, I am Barrister Amaka. I specialize in domestic violence and property recovery. We'll be working together. Ngozi stood up and shook her hand firmly. Then let's begin. Meanwhile, at home, Kingsley was pacing the living room, phone in his hand. She's not picking, he muttered. Where the hell is she? I will kill her. He didn't know that Ngozi was already taking the flash drive to court. Didn't know the audio of him threatening to chase her out naked was now in legal hands. Didn't know the video of her bleeding by the wall had gone into a secure folder labeled. That afternoon, 2 men in black suits delivered an envelope to Kingsley. Call summons, one said coldly. Kingsley tore it open and froze. What? Property claim? Emotional damages? He threw the envelope across the room and laughed nervously. This woman dey craze oo. She thinks she can fight me. By the next day, 3 things happened. 1. Ngozi's lawyer filed a restraining order. 2. The police invited Kingsley for questioning. 3. The Instagram post by the girl wearing Ngozi's wedding gown was added as evidence of psychological torment. Kingsley panicked. She wants war. Fine, he shouted on the phone to one of his side chicks. Let me finish the sale quickly and collect my money. But when he met the supposed buyer at the house gate, a plain car pulled up beside him. 2 plainclothes officers stepped out. Are you Mr. Kingsley Okafor? What is it? You are under arrest for attempted fraud, aggravated assault and property mispresentation. Kingsley laughed at first. This is a joke, right? Until they showed him the signed document, until they showed him the bloodied photographs, until they played the recording. One day, I will chase you out of this house naked. His laughter died in his throat. Ngozi, standing nearby with her lawyer, didn't flinch. She didn't smile either. She simply watched as they handcuffed him and placed him in the back seat. Kingsley shouted from the window, You think you have won? You will regret this. Ngozi turned away, adjusting her head wrap. Barrister Ifeanyi placed a hand on her shoulder. We are not done yet. A month later, the court ruled that the house legally belonged to Ngozi, as proven by the original land document and her father's will. She was granted full possession. Kingsley was fined for attempting to sell a property he didn't own and charged with domestic violence and bodily harm. As for the girls he paraded around, none of them showed up in court, not even the one who wore Ngozi's wedding gown. Ngozi didn't celebrate. She simply moved forward. She repainted the house, replaced the beddings, burned the wedding gown. One day, as she stood in front of the balcony, her best friend Ijoma joined her. You finally got your life back, Ijoma said. Ngozi sipped her tea. No, I finally chose it. Ijoma laughed. You are different now. Ngozi turned and smiled. I am free. The house was quiet again, but not like before. This time it was peaceful. This time it was hard. If you were in Ngozi's shoe, would you have chosen revenge or peace? Why do you think people stay in silent, toxic relationship? Have you ever seen someone finally stand up for themselves? What happened at the end of the day? We can talk in the comments section. Your story might give someone the courage to walk away. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate.